Arik Levy, it's a pleasure to meet you here at Belgrade Design Week. That was a very dynamic performance. When does your television show start?
I'm working on it actually. It would be great, but if I do it, I want my own TV channel. That's a little bit more complicated. There's some organization on the web, Architonic it's called, or something like this. I'm waiting for my, proposal.
Don't hold your breath then on that one. The central idea here this week is future gazing, trying to kind of tease out ideas about what the future might look like, to map it. Why is that important? I mean, surely the present is complicated enough. We should be kind of tackling that.
I think it's an interesting myth in a way to deal with, because I live in the future. What I do now will appear in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. Some people live in the past, being in the present, collecting things that just came out a second ago or 1,000 years ago, but you have to put them on now. So the future is actually really a composition of intuition, of ability, of articulation, of flexibility, of parameters that we can today have access to and not necessarily had it before. But if I sum it all up, the difference between, in companies, for example, in the last 300 years, you can see companies that, or products that has survived the world wars, the crisis and so on, are two actually. One is innovation and the other is art. It's the only thing you can look backward. You don't see a broken chair or another broken chair. You don't see that car or this car. Whatever was innovative, the company was in, or the person that innovated went through the different decades. And art is, when you go to a museum, that's what you see. You see art, people talk about it, people show it, people buy it, people negotiate with it, people want to live with it, and it's special. And art has a vision, and innovation has a vision. And this is, I think, the combination.
The future becomes the present at some stage. The present that we now live in was once the future. So looking back 5 or 10 years ago, for you, how the future that you envisaged at the time, how did that turn out? I mean, was it what you expected? Was it what you hoped for in terms of your aspirations?
The example I gave with Cartier headquarters is actually participating in this, and that future that I imagine has worked. I must admit that I'm not successful with every one of my visions, but it's enough to understand part of this DNA to be able to propel her into the next vision. But it's not. Yes, everything becomes present at a certain time and moment, but the time it becomes present, the visionary idea of it is maybe not there anymore, because all the parameters has changed. But the way we live here now is not the way we're going to be in 10 years or 15 years. Having saying that, the possibility to be in that playground is a privilege.
And is there anyone here who you've spoken to or listened to who's been particularly inspirational, or is there someone you're looking forward to seeing here in Belgrade?
I've never been to Belgrade, and I arrived at 12, and between 12 and 3 I had a walk with my host, and we walked around, we saw, what I did, I closed my eyes. All I wanted to do is to feel and not think about, not to compare, because I can't. I travel a lot, like many other people. I see a lot of places, very frequently, a lot of airplanes and so on. But every place has its own gravity, and I think the gravity here is definitely people. There's some contamination with brands, and so the walking street looks the same in Berlin, in Paris, here, and so on. But the outside the small amount of people are the design freaks, or are the architecture freak, or the brand freak, and so on, is reality. And reality here is tough. It's not an easy country. Like Israel is not an easy country. France is relatively super easy compared to here, and that brings an energy of survival. And when you need to survive, you are stronger, you are innovative, and you are eager. And those who are eager will go further. And I'm sure that all these countries that are in trouble today will have arise talents and solutions and ideas that will show off. And Scandinavia, for example, the mobile technology it's all been grown there because the country is huge and there's not many people. So the distance between a person to another person has been gigantic. So communication for them was essential. This is how come Nokia became, or Ericsson became so big. And these are parameters that we don't see anymore in Central Europe. So it's great. I think what happens here has a great potential.
Innovation out of necessity. Arik Levy, thank you very much.
Thank you.